we are going to describe the common data structures that are regular in use in day-to-day life or day-to-day programming life. We will discuss now. The first most familiar data structures that is used in common practice is arrays. As already you know, in the case of your C programming language, arrays can be defined as a set of homogeneous elements. What is the meaning of homogeneous elements? Similar data typed elements. Similar data typed elements. An array can be defined as collection of similar data typed elements, and also you can know array can be used to store all these similar data typed elements in continuous memory locations. In continuous memory locations. For example, see, simply we can declare an array in either C or some another language by using the statement as data type space array name and the size of the array should be given in square brackets. For example, if you take this statement int space ARR of 10, what is the meaning of this statement? ARR is an array name consisting of how many elements are there? 10 elements, and each and every of these 10 elements is of the data type integer. That means ARR is a collection of 10 integer elements. 10 integer elements. All of them are similar data type. The first element is an integer, second element is an integer, third element is an integer, and the last 10th element is also integer. So that is the meaning of homogeneous elements, collection of homogeneous elements. So while coming to the another definition, all the array elements will be stored in continuous memory locations. Let us see how this array is going to be represented in memory. Always the first array element is going to be indexed at 0, as already you know, the second element at 1, the third element at 2, and the last element at n minus 1, where n is the size of the array. So here within this example, what is the size of the array? 10 is the size of the array. So the first element is indexed at 0, the next element is indexed at 1, the next element, the third element is indexed at 2, the last element, that is the 10th element, is indexed at 9. So for example, the first element has been stored at the memory location 100. What is the memory address of ARR of 0? 100. So what will be the memory addresses of ARR of 1? As already you know, all the array elements are stored in continuous memory locations. 0 after 1 will be stored in the next memory location. How much memory is required for ARR of 0? As already you know, the integer takes 2 bytes. The first ARR of 0 takes 2 bytes, 100 to 102. So ARR of 1, 102 to 104. ARR of 3, 108 to 110. ARR of 4, 110 to 111. Likewise, all the array elements will be stored at continuous memory locations. Continuous memory locations. So this is about array. Array can be defined as collection of similar data typed elements which are stored in continuous memory locations and in order to access the individual elements of the array, we need to use the indexes. Whereas the first element is indexed at 0, the second element is indexed at 1, likewise the last element is indexed at size minus 1, where the size is the number of elements present within your array. Okay. In order to access the arrays, we need to use the single for loop. Accessing normally means read and write. How we can read the individual elements of an array, how we can print the individual elements of an array. For example, if int a of 10 is there, in order to read all these elements, how I can write? First I must read the first element. What is the first element? Scanf percentage d ampersand a of 0. What is the statement in order to read the next element? Scanf percentage d ampersand a of 1. Next, ampersand a of 2. Likewise, what is the last element? Ampersand a of 9. Why? Because we are having 10 elements. So in order to read, how many scanfs I should write? 10 scanfs. Instead of writing repeatedly the scanf statement, I can use the for loop. The repeated statements can be used by using the loops. For is an example of the repetitive construct. I can use the for loop here. For I is equal to 0, I less than or equal to 9. Why? Because here the size of the array is 10 times. I plus plus scanf percentage d ampersand arr of I. Initially it will read I means I value is 0, arr of 0, next arr of 1, arr of 2, and so on arr of 9. Instead of here I less than or equal to 9, I can use I less than or equal I less than 10. I can use the statement. So likewise, in order to print the array, I can use a similar for loop. Here I can use the 10 printf statements here. Printf percentage d comma a of 0, printf percentage d comma a of 1. Likewise, last I can use percentage d comma a of 9. Instead of writing all that 9 printf statements, I can have the single for loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than 9, I plus plus, printf percentage d comma arr of I. Initially it will print arr of 0, next arr of 1, likewise arr of 9. In general, I can write for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, scanf data type string, formative string, comma, ampersand, array name of I can use for reading, printf the same format for printing the arrays. So this is all about arrays, brief history regarding arrays. So the next thing is, what are the basic common operations that can be performed on arrays? I can create an array declaration by using the declarative statements. I can traverse the array, searching an element within the array elements, sorting the array elements, inserting a new element, deletion of an element, merging of two arrays. I can apply on the arrays. So the second most regular used data structure is list. As its name indicates, in the case of your list, we can represent the given collection of elements as a linear list. As its name indicates, list are the linear data structures which identifies the linear relationship that exists among the given group of elements. or in another words, the given group of elements can be linearly represented by means of your list. Linearly represented by means of your list. So, technically speaking, a list can be defined as a collection of nodes. As a collection of nodes. So, here each and every node consisting of two basic parts. The data part and the address to the next node. As already you know, list is a linear data structure which identifies the linear relationship among the given group of elements by storing them in non-continuous memory locations. How we can establish the linear relationship among the non-continuous data items? By using the links. By using the links. So in order to make that statement true, technically speaking, list can be defined as collection of nodes. Collection of nodes. What is the common format of node is mandatorily each and every node consisting of minimum two parts. The first part is data part, the data element which we want to store within that node, and the second part is address to the next node. Address to the next node. For example, earlier speaking, if you are having A has been stored at 500, B has been stored at 200 and C has been stored at 150. If I want to establish all these elements by means of the list, I can have the first node A having a link towards the second node, that is B, B having a link towards the third node, that is C. Actual address of A is 500, address of B is 200. This 200 will be stored in this part as a pointer. This 150 is stored in this field as a pointer towards the next node. In each and every list, I can have the initial node as the head node which points towards the first node. So this is the head that points towards the first node. It consisting of the address of the first node. The first node consisting of two parts. The data part. What is the data of this node? AAA. And also the second part is address to the next node. By seeing this address, I can find out the next element. What is the next element? Next node. Next node also consisting of two parts. What is the data part of next node? B. And also it consisting of address to the next node. By seeing this address, I can find the next node. The next node also consisting of two parts. What is the data part? CCC, as well as the address is null as it is the last node. So in this way, the elements can be stored linearly or by means of a list. They can be ordered as a list. The ordered collection of elements in which we can identify the linear relationship among the elements by establishing the kind of links between that elements can be possible by means of the list. Normally this can be called as a linked list. Why? Because the list of items can be linked together by having the links between the data items. So this is about list. So these are the normal kind of lists we can use in most probably. We can have the single linked list, doubly linked list, circular linked list, single circular linked list and double circular linked list, which we can deal in the next unit. The most common types of linked lists are single linked list, in which we are having only the single link towards the next node as shown in previous cases. Only single link to the next node. This is single linked list. If you are having two links, one link to the next node and one link to the previous node, as well as one data part, see here, what is the previous node of A? Null. The data part is A. It is the next node address. While coming to the second node, what is the previous node of B? A. The next node of B is C. The previous node of C is B. The data part is C, and the next node of C is null. In each and every node, if you are having the two links, link for the previous node, link for the next node, that type of lists are called as single linked list. What is the meaning of circular linked list? It is a single linked list in which the last node address field is pointing towards the first node. As usual, the last node address is null, as because there is next node is not there for the last node. In here, in the case of your circular linked list, after the last node again it points to the first node. This type of data structure is called as single circular linked list. In the case of your doubly circular linked list, it is a double linked list in which the last node next address is pointing towards the first node. That type of linked list is called as doubly circular linked list. Circular linked list is a linked list in which the last node always points towards the first node. The next node after the last node is first node again. That type of linked lists are called as circular linked lists. So these are the most common familiar linked lists available. Single linked list in which each and every node is having only one link towards the next node. Doubly linked list in which each and every node is having two links, one link to the previous node, one link to the next node. Okay. In the case of your circular linked list, the last node always points towards the first node. What is the next node after last node? Again the first node. So in the case of single circular linked list, it is a single linked list in which the last node address is pointing towards the first node. Doubly circular linked list, it is a double linked list in which the last node, next node is stored at the first node itself. So these are the common types of linked lists available. So the third most common utilized data structure is stack. What is a stack? A stack is an ordered collection of elements in which the elements are arranged in last in first out order. Last in first out order. A stack can be defined as an ordered collection of elements in which the elements are inserted and deleted from only a single end, that is called as top of the stack. That is called as top of the stack. By means of this one, it is also called as LIFO. LIFO means last in first out order. What is the meaning of last in? The last inserted element is the first one to be deleted. Last in first out means the last inserted element will be the first element to be deleted. And in the stack, the elements are inserted at one end and the elements are also deleted at the same end. That is called as top of the stack. Both insertion operations and deletion operations are performed by the single end, that is called as top of the stack. We will discuss in detail about this stack by seeing one of the example. For example, if you are going to a restaurant or in your home also, if you have arranged the plates likewise, one plate on the top of another plate, the plates are arranged likewise. Which plate do you take out first? The last plate or the first plate? This plate is the first plate that is inserted. This plate is the second plate that is inserted. This is the third plate. This is the fourth plate. This is the fifth plate. And this is the sixth plate. For example, in this case, in this scenario, I have inserted 6 plates on my table. The first plate, on the top of the first plate, the second plate, On the top of the second plate, the third plate. Likewise, I have arranged all the 6 plates. If I want to take one plate, which I can remove? The plate which I have inserted first or the plate which I have inserted last? Ultimately, I will remove the topmost plate. I will remove P6. After that, P5. After that, P4. After that, P3. After that, P2. After that, P1. The first inserted element is P1, but the last deleted element is P1. The last in, first out. The last inserted element is P6. The first out or the first deleted element is P6. Okay now. So this is the case which represents the stacks normally. The first inserted element will be the last one to be deleted. In such cases where this type of ordering is required, in which the elements are inserted at one end, we are inserting here, we are inserting here, we are inserting here, we are inserting here, and the elements are deleted from the same end. The last in first out order is required. In all that situations, I can use a linear data structure that is called as a stack. So the stack is a linear data structure which prefers the arrangement of the elements in LIFO order, which prefers the organization of the elements in LIFO order. LIFO means last in first out order. So in this last in first out order, we are having the stack. This is the stack. Stack is normally the memory inside your computer system. This is the first element you will insert at the bottom of the stack. Next the second element. Next the last element. Next the next element. Likewise, all the elements will be inserted from bottom to top. While coming for the deletion operation, this one is the first element to be deleted. The deletion from the stack is normally termed as pop, and the insertion of the elements to the stack are normally termed as push. Each and every element is inserted at only one end, that is called as top. Initially the top is last. I have inserted at one element. I have inserted one element. Now the top becomes here. Now I will insert 20. Initially I will insert top. Next the top will become now. Next I will insert at the top now. Now the top will become next position. After insertion, the top becomes here. I will insert from there. Okay, if I want to delete, I will delete from the top. This one is the out. Now the top becomes here. If I want to delete again, the top becomes here. So insertion and deletion operations are performed from only one end, that is called as top of the stack. From only one end I can apply all these operations, that is insertion and deletion. So that is about stack. Stack is a data structure which organizes the given data elements in last in first out manner. The common operations are insertion, deletion, traversing, searching, all that kinds we can apply on your stacks. So the stack is a linear data structure. That means all the elements can be stored in continuous memory locations, or they can be stored in non-continuous memory locations, but there exists a linear relationship among the data items. So that is about linear data structure. We can normally implement the stacks in any programming language using the arrays or by using linked list. Using the arrays I can have the static implementation. Using the linked list I can have the dynamic implementations. I can have number of elements, number of nodes to be inserted dynamically, number of nodes can be deleted dynamically. So that is about stacks. Now we will discuss one another important data structure, that is queue. Queue is a linear data structure which organizes the given data elements in last in first out manner. Last in queue is a data structure which organizes the given data elements in first out manner, as opposed to that of your stack which organizes the data elements in last in first out manner. Here the element that is inserted first the element which is inserted first will be the one that is to be deleted first. Which one is the first inserted element? That is the element to be deleted first. If I need that type of ordering, I can use the queue data structure. What is a common example of queue? If you are reserving the tickets for either cinema theaters or for railway booking counter, whomever may be the people that stood first in the queue, that will be the person that leave the queue first. So that is the better example for the queues. Normal type of queues where the queuing process is there, queuing of people or queuing of something, that stood as the examples of the queues here. So in the case of your queue, the insertion will happen at one end and the deletion will happen at other end. In the case of stack, both the insertion and deletion will happen at only one end, that is called as top of the stack. Whereas in the case of your queue, the insertion will happen at one end, that is called as the rear end, and the deletion will happen at one end, that is called as the front end. The elements can be deleted from rear end, the elements can be inserted from the rear end, and the elements can be deleted from the front end. That is about queue. So see, this is the array representation of your queue. Initially the front and rear are 0. If you want to insert, I can increment the front, I will insert 10. If you want to insert another element, it is 20. If I want to insert 30, this is front. If I want to insert 40, if I insert 50, the front will be here, the rear will be here. If I insert 10, the rear is here. If I insert another element 20, the rear will be incremented. If I insert 30, the rear will be here. If I insert 40, the rear will be here. If I insert 50, the rear will be here. The front is always, the front and rear are initially -1. If I want to remove, this is the front, I remove 10 first. Next the front will be here, I remove 20. If I want to remove further, the next deleted element is 30. The first inserted one is the first removed. The next inserted will be the next removed. So the first in first out order can be maintained by means of a data structure that is called as queue, where the elements are inserted from rear end and removed from front end. So as in similar to that of your stacks, the queues can also be implemented in two ways, by using the array representation, giving the static implementation, by using the linked list representation, by using the pointers, I can have the dynamic implementations of the queues. While coming for the next data structure, that is trees. A tree can be defined as a non-linear data structure in which there exists a finite set of elements which are arranged in a hierarchical manner. The tree tries to establish a hierarchical kind of relationships among the data items, in which there is a need for the hierarchy relationship. We need to use the tree type of data structure, and it is a non-linear data structure. In the trees, there exists a single element that is called as a root of the tree. There is a particular designated element that is called as the root of the tree, and all the remaining elements will be divided into disjoint subsets that are called as the subtrees of the given trees. That are called as the subtrees of the given trees. For example, if you are having elements as A, B, C, D, E, I can designate any element as the root of the tree. What is the root of the tree? C is the root of the tree. What are the remaining elements? The remaining elements are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. All these remaining elements have to be partitioned into disjoint subsets. What is the meaning of disjoint? One element should present in only one set. There should not be any common elements. For example, I have divided the first disjoint group as A, B, D, the next group as E, the next group as F, G, H, I. Again I can divide that process. See, what is the left subtree? This is the root of the tree. The subtrees, I have found the subtrees. How many subtrees are there? 3 subtrees. The first subtree consisting of the elements A, B, D. The second subtree consisting of elements E. The third subtree consisting of 4 elements F, G, H, I. Again the first subtree is again divided into 2 subtrees. The root of the subtree is A. The next left subtree is B, right subtree is D. It consisting of only one element E. Whereas this subtree F, G, H, I has been subdivided likewise. The root of the tree is F. It has 3 subtrees G, H, I. Likewise, all the elements in the tree will be divided into disjoint groups where there exists a designated element called as the root of the tree, and all the remaining elements will be partitioned into disjoint subsets called as the subtrees of the given trees. Again the subtrees will be again further subdivided. The last elements of the trees are called as leaf nodes. Leaf nodes. The first node is called as root node. The last elements will be called as leaf nodes. As opposed to that of your normal tree which grows from root to upwards, here this tree also grows from root but towards the bottomwards, in opposite to that of your normal tree. This tree also grows in length, starting from root towards the leaf, in bottom direction, as opposed to that of your normal trees. So this is about trees. See here, this is the root of the tree, subtree. All this is one subtree. This is another subtree. All these are the subtrees. Can have any node can consisting of any number of subtrees. Here we are having only 2 subtrees, the first subtree and second subtree. Likewise, we can divide the given data elements. A tree can be defined as a non-linear data structure which identifies the hierarchical relationship among the given elements, and the elements can be divided such that there exists a particular designated node called as the root of the tree, and all the remaining elements will be divided into mutually exclusive subsets called as the subtrees of the given root. So this is about trees. So the last important data structure is graph. What is a graph? As its name indicates, the graph can be defined as an ordered pair of 2 elements called as V, E. A graph G can be defined as ordered pair. In mathematics, always the ordered pair can be represented by parenthesis. Unordered pair can be represented by curly braces. So the ordered pair of V, E, where V is the vertex set of vertices, E is the edge set of edges. That means a graph can be defined as collection of vertices as well as the collection of edges among that vertices. Normally there exist many applications for the graphs in day-to-day life, and it is also important non-linear data structures which is having many applications in chemistry, geography as well as sciences, engineering sciences. In all of these fields we normally use the graphs in order to represent several kinds of problems. This graph is also used in order to represent the non-linear relationship among the data items. The elements in the given graph are represented by using the vertices. For example, if I am having the elements as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, for each and every element I will draw one vertex. Normally the vertex can be represented by using the rounded circle 10, 20, 30, 40. An edge is an arc which connects a pair of vertices which are in relation with each other. So here 10 to 20 I have drawn an arc, that is one edge. 10 to 30 I have drawn an edge. Here 30 to 50 another edge. 20 to 40, 50 to 40, 20 to 40. Likewise, an edge can be defined as an arc which connects a pair of vertices. Entirely a graph is a collection of vertices and edges. Here how many vertices are there? 5 vertices are there. How many edges are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 edges are there. An edge can be defined as an arc that connects a pair of vertices. So this is about graphs. These are the kinds of graphs I can represent. If the edge is a directed edge in your graph, that type of graph is called as directed graph. Here see how many edges are available. How many vertices are available? 5 vertices named as are labeled as V1, V2, V3, V4 and V5. An edge can be used in order to draw an arc from one vertex to another vertex. Here how many edges are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 edges are there. If each and every edge of your given graph is directed, what is the direction? From V1 to V2 is the direction of this edge. What is the direction here? V2 to V5. Here what is the direction? V5 to V4. Here it is from V4 to V3. Here it is from V3 to V2. If each and every edge is directed, that type of graph is called as directed graph. So here all the edges are directed, having the direction from which vertex to which vertex. So that type of graph is called as directed graph from V1 to V2, V5. Here from V5 to V4. Okay. If in the opposite way, if the edges are not directed, that type of graphs are called as undirected graphs. So see here V1 to V3, whether we can denote it as from V1 to V3 or from V2 to V3, anyway is possible. Here also from V1 to V2 also possible, as well as V2 to V1 is also possible. If in the graph in each and every edge is undirected, that type of graphs are called as undirected graphs. And especially if the edge is weighted, if we assign some type of weights or some type of labels for each and every edge, that type of graphs are called as weighted graphs. There exists a particular weight allotted for each and every edge. So here what is the weight I have allotted from V1 to V2? 10. From V2 to V5? 6. If for each and every edge we have allotted some weight, that type of graphs are called as weighted graphs. Normally the weighted graphs can be used in order to represent the amount of distance available from one city to another city, the kind of time that is taken to reach from one city to another city. Likewise, I can use this weighted type of graphs. So normally these are the types of graphs that are available. Directed graph, as already we have discussed, in which each and every edge is directed, in which each and every edge is undirected, that is called as undirected graph. Simple graph, no loops are there, that is called as simple graph. In which each and every edge is allotted some weight, that is called as weighted graph. The last type of graphs are connected graph and unconnected graph. Connected graph means if between every pair of vertices there is a path. Every pair of vertices there is a path, then that is called as connected. Every vertex is connected to every another vertex. Path means there is a route, not direct edge. So here from V1 to V2 there is a path or not? How I can reach V1 to V2? How I can reach to V3? V1 to V3 directly. V1 to V4. Either from V1 to V2 and V2 to V4. What is the path? Or I can have V1 to V3 or V3 to V4. What is the path from V2 to V1? I can directly reach from V2 to V1. V2 to V1 to V3. V2 to V4 directly. From V1 to V2. V1 to V3. V1 to V2 to V4 or V1 to V3 to V4. From V3 to V1 I can directly go. V3 to V2. V3 to V4 I can directly go. From V4 also I can have the paths to all another vertices. V4 to V2. V4 to V3. V4 to V2 to V1 or V4 to V3 to V1 I can have. So from each and every vertex I can reach to all the remaining vertices. So every vertex is connected to each other. So this type of graphs are called as connected graphs. As opposed to that one we are having unconnected graph or non-connected graph. If the pair of vertices are unreachable, any pair of vertices are unreachable, then it is called as non-connected graph. For example, if you are having, this is a situation, this is a directed graph especially. Can we have the route from V3 to V4? V3 to V4 is not reachable. If any pair of vertices are unreachable, then it is called as unconnected graph or non-connected graph. So this is about graph. A graph is a non-linear data structure which arranges the given group of elements as a collection of vertices. We are trying to establish the kind of non-linear relationships among these vertices in the form of edges. A graph G can be represented as an ordered pair of V comma E, where V is a set of vertices and E is a set of edges. The normal type of graphs are directed graph in which each edge is directed, undirected graph in which each edge is undirected, weighted graph we are allocating some weights for each and every edge, unweighted graph in which no weight is allocated for the graphs, connected graphs every pair of vertices are reachable, unconnected graph any pair of vertices is unreachable, then that is called as non-connected graph. So this is all about data structures. So we have discussed what is a data structure, organization of the given data elements in a way such that we can perform the operations on the data elements in an efficient manner, that is called as a data structure. What is the purpose of data structure? In order to develop an efficient program, not only we require the algorithm to solve the given particular problem, as well as we need a way or organization of the given elements such that by means of which arrangement the algorithm takes the less amount of time and less amount of space. That is the aim of your data structure. Regarding a particular problem, we need to select the appropriate data structure by considering what are the needed operations on the data items what are the requirement performance goals, how much time, within how much time we need to execute the algorithm, within how much space we need to execute the algorithm. By considering all of these aspects, we need to select the appropriate data structure which best fits our given problem. So while coming to the classification of data structures, the data structures are classified into two categories: primitive data structures and non-primitive data structures. Primitive data structures are the fundamental data types supported by the programming language itself. Non-primitive data structures are based on the primitive data structures, which again divided into two subcategories: linear data structures and non-linear data structures. Linear data structures tries to identify the linear kind of relationship among the data items. The non-linear data structures organizes the given data elements non-linearly. Examples of linear data structures are arrays, linked lists, stacks, queues. Examples of non-linear data structures are trees and graphs. While coming for the arrays, arrays can be defined as a collection of homogeneous data items or the similar data items organized in the continuous memory locations in a linear manner. Each and every array element can be accessed by using the index of the array, A of I. The first element is stored at A of 0 and the last element is stored at A of size minus 1, where size is the number of elements stored in the array. So the next data structure is linked list. The linked list is also a linear data structure which organizes the given data elements linearly by having the links between the nodes. Or in another words, a linked list can be defined as a collection of nodes in which each and every node consisting of minimum two parts: the data part and the link to the next node. Data part and the link to the next node. The common types of linked lists are single linked list, in which only one link to the next node is available; double linked list, in which two links are available, one link to the previous node and one link to the next node; the circular linked list, the last node points to the first node again; single circular linked list and double circular linked list. Coming for the third data structure, stack. A stack is also a linear data structure which organizes the given elements in last in first out manner, in which the last inserted element will be the first one to be deleted. Here the insertion operations and deletion operations are happening at only one end, called as the top of the stack. So while coming for the fourth data structure, queues. A queue is a data structure which is also the linear data structure which organizes the given elements in first in first out manner. That is, the first inserted element will be the first element that is to be deleted, in which in this queue the insertion process will commence from one end called as the rear end. The deletion process will happen at another end, that is called as the front end. So the next non-linear data structures are trees and graphs. A tree is a non-linear data structure which organizes the given data elements in hierarchical manner, in which we can identify a particular element called as the root of the tree, and all the remaining elements will be arranged in subtrees, mutual exclusion subsets called as the subtrees of the given tree. This is about trees. A graph is a collection of vertices and edges. An edge can have the connection between a pair of vertices. A G can be defined as V comma E, where V is a set of vertices and E is a set of edges. The normal common type of graphs are connected graph, unconnected graph, directed graph, undirected graph, weighted graph and unweighted graph. So this is about the introduction regarding data structures. We'll meet in the next video. Thank you.